All right, this is going to be a quick one. This was more about tonality. And in tonality, one thing that differs is, so there's a piano button, if you see right here, that you can see the piano, shows you the notes you're playing. So you don't need to hear this to know what I'm saying. Um, this is how it works with regards to the scales. When you're just playing, like this is F sharp Dorian. So I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit. The count is pretty simple. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? That's the 7 notes, but it's also the 7 chords in the scale. So it's pretty simple to follow like that. But let's say you go in here and you go scale chords. You want to do 7ths and you want to do Dorian. We'll keep the same F sharp or G flat and create. Now it gets a little bit more confusing, right? Because if you can see here, it's a lot more chords. The outer chords represent the dominants, right? The dominant 7s. The inner chords represent the main chords that you're going to use. But it counts differently now. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's the same scale notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you just take the note at the beginning. So it's an F sharp. Then you go to your piano. That's not F sharp. This is F sharp. Sorry about that. The next note, I'm trying not to cover the screen, is a G sharp. There it is. Next one is an A. The next one is a B. Then it's a C sharp. Then it's a D sharp. Then it's an E. So you learn that scale, and that basically represents the scale of the chords. Create your chords, play the scale. If you want to actually see the scale, you can do scale notes, and it will populate the notes for you if you just want the notes. But my method to this madness is just learn the scale. It's pretty easy. It's only 7 notes to learn. Once you learn it, it travels across the board. So it goes. So if you go here, right? Keep it going. So you just learned the 7 notes of the F sharp Dorian scale. So those notes work, and you can use those to play. Now, if you wanted to know the modes of it, then you go to the scales tab, and which looks like you can't see it in this. Let me zoom out just a little bit there. So there's a scales tab, which is right down here. And if you go in there and you go to F sharp, you can scroll down and find Dorian. There it is. So there's the notes again for you. Hit this button here, populates them over here. And if you scroll down here, you'll see a bunch of information that may confuse you. Don't get confused. And then look over here to modes. Modes tells you which ones you can play solo in. They're the same thing. It's just they're represented as F sharp Dorian, G sharp Phrygian, the A Lydian. All these are the same way that you see them in scalar, where they're at the bottom. You see all those different scales. So that's just what that is. But the easier way to do this is just learn these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now you have the scales. So just wanted to show you that because I know it can be confusing, like if you don't have scalar and you're doing this. Like if you're on the phone, you don't have scalar, so it's not on there. So you have to, you might want to use tonality, which is still, to me, one of my favorites, because it is simple. It doesn't require a lot, but it has some cool features in it. Like, for instance, I've shown this before. I'm going to stretch the width on this a little bit more so you can see it. But the strum feature, where you can strum, and if you turn your tablet sideways, you can actually play the notes, right? If you can get your hands positioned like that, if you want to do that, and you can do the, more like that. But if you don't have this, if you're on the phone, it can be quite challenging to use the strum feature. It's not impossible. I do it, but it does require a little more effort. But if you have a keyboard, just learn the notes on the keyboard. It'll save you a lot of headache down the road. Plus, you'll better your skills doing that. playing it that way. Now, if you need to play it in, let's say, if you're on an iPad and you're in AUM, and I'm not going to actually play anything, I'm just showing you. Let's just say you set up a MIDI. The good thing about it is, and you have MIDI pads, and you go in here and you set up a key. We're going to do scale chord, same thing, we'll do Dorian. Just try to keep it so that it doesn't change much on you. Put the dominance in, go create, there it is. What you can do is you can hook a keyboard to this within here. So inputs, you're going to use the keyboard in the AUM, right? So now you have the keyboard. So you have the keyboard and this you can use to create your scales and your chords. And because you have your chords right in front of you, if you do it this way, you can actually make this smaller, by the way. You don't have to have it that. You can see the chords and you just kind of learn them, right? Same principle. So this is a cool way to do your chords. If you have an SP and you want to record into the SP, you can actually use, this is what I use right here, right? And then hook it to, I've shown you guys this before, but I'll just really quickly do it again. You got to have a dongle of some sort. So there you go, like that. Throw it into the iPad. And then what you can do is just hook up an instrument within here. I'll just grab the piano, doesn't really matter. And run the piano from the pads. And then you can turn on this over here. I'm gonna make a copy. I'm gonna edit this one, go to delete, and remove that. So you'll have some, you can kind of hear it coming out of the headphones, right? And then you can, so you get the point, right? You can make the music that way if you choose to. And I didn't even show you this part, but yeah, you can, if you run it into here, it won't play because you have to MIDI map it to these notes. But you don't need it MIDI mapped in here, to be honest with you. You need it in here, right? So put the keyboard on there and now just play the notes as you learn them. And then I think there's a way, if I remember right, to change this to make these notes. I thought it was a way to make these to resize this keyboard. I may be wrong. There may be, but that would be nice if they don't have it. A way to make this keyboard a little bit larger, because I would only need, in my opinion, only about 2 octaves, and then I could. This might be too small because see, my finger can almost roll into another one. But anyway, that's getting off the subject. The point was you can use scalar. Okay, learn your chords. Boom. And now you learned a scale. And each time you learn a scale, your memory will you'll start gaining that memory, and you won't forget it. Next time you see a F sharp Dorian, you'll know exactly those notes because you had an opportunity to really learn it, So anyway, keep up the good work, everybody. Hit me up whenever you have questions. Be glad to answer. And yeah, keep making music. I'm out.